You're watching Oregon's News at 10 on Oregon's Fox.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Claire Brennan. Lane County residents woke up to treacherous icy road conditions today that turned the morning commute into a dangerous drive. Our Billy Spots has more.
Whether you're a parent whose kid had school canceled or a commuter on your way to work, most everyone was on high alert over the icy road conditions this morning. Winter weather is back in town, and with it comes a reminder to stay cautious while driving. Police reported multiple crashes Thursday night into Friday morning due to black ice on the roads.
So in the winter, we see a lot more crashes, and they are typically cars leaving the roadway because of conditions.
The city of Eugene and Springfield both worked through the night putting de-icers and sand on the roads, but they warn that the roads will likely still be icy in the early hours of the morning. Right now, city officials are expecting that these icy conditions could last through the weekend as temperatures dip at night.
We're looking into a pattern where this could be kind of a multiple day thing, so we could see the same thing happen night after night, and that's something that could happen throughout the weekends.
So if you have to go out, what should you do when the roads are icy? For starters, you should slow down.
When you see that speed limit, that's designed for perfect conditions. It's a sunny day in June, roads are dry. That's not what we have right now.
Alongside slowing down, officials say you should leave plenty of space between yourself and the car in front of you. Drive defensively and drive as if you can't rely on your brakes.
But another good tactic, I was out this morning is, when I'm driving, try to drive like I can't rely on my brakes, like my brakes aren't there. So, making sure that when I'm approaching a signal, really trying to let the car do the slowing itself.
The freezing temperatures and icy roads are behind us this evening, but it was quite a commute for many this morning. However, warmer temperatures have improved road conditions this evening. Chief Meteorologist Josh Cozart joins us now with a closer look at the potential for another icy night. Josh, what's it looking like?
Well, Claire, early this morning we saw temperatures dip well below freezing. We're talking about early morning lows into the 20s for the southern Willamette Valley. Below freezing for Roseburg with 30 at sunrise and mid-30s found along the south coast. But thankfully, afternoon temperatures warmed back up into the 40s. That helped to melt any of the ice that was still remaining on the surfaces. But now we prepare for yet again another round of cold temperatures tonight. Many of us flirting with freezing once again. So right now and pretty much through midnight, expecting to just hold on to some wet roadways, but come sunrise, we have the potential for some patchy ice and black ice on some of those roadways. And it's always the overpasses and bridges that we have to look out for the freezing to happen a little bit earlier and extend later into the mid-morning hours, all due to the cold air that's able to kind of funnel its way beneath the surface, and that helps to drop the temperature rapidly. Now, if you're traveling over those mountain passes, it looks like the snow crews have been hard at work over the past several hours, but still expecting those snow-packed roadways, so it's going to be a slow go at things as we progress through the rest of this weekend at 4,700 feet. But as far as the valley locations go, we're slowly starting to improve those road conditions. Just be careful in the early morning hours. Claire.
Thanks for the update, Josh. Coos County Commissioner Melissa Cribbins concedes a tight race for the Position 3 commissioner's seat. Today, Cribbins took to Facebook to outline successes she's had over 10 years as commissioner. In the post, she cites her role in increasing the county's general fund revenues and decreasing tax debt. Cribbins mentions being part of the securing of $1 million in state funds to address homelessness in the county and says her last day in office will be December 31st. The concession means her challenger in the November election, Rod Taylor, will assume the commissioner's role. And meanwhile, police have made an arrest in a crash that killed a 5-year-old girl on Highway 58. That happened on Sunday, November 20th, east of Oak Ridge. Oregon State Police say Amber Gonzalez Riddle crossed into the oncoming lane and hit another car, which caught fire. Troopers arrested Gonzalez Riddle yesterday. She's now being charged with manslaughter and DUII. Turning to news around the nation, Congress and the president acted to avoid a railroad strike, but the new law does not include paid sick leave. Republicans in Senate voting against that measure. But according to The Intercept, citing a union source, workers are moving to the next phase. They're demanding President Biden include rail workers in an executive order mandating 56 hours of paid sick leave for federal contractors. Biden says the fight continues.
And look, I know this bill doesn't have paid sick leave that these rail workers and frankly every worker in America deserves. But that fight isn't over. I didn't commit we were going to stop just because we couldn't get it in this bill, that we were going to stop fighting for it. I've supported paid sick leave for a long time. I'm going to continue that fight till we succeed.
8 of 12 unions ratified Biden's initial deal, though labor leaders and progressive lawmakers slammed the president for asking Congress to step in. A former U.S. Department of Education representative is weighing in as the Biden administration's student debt relief plan is challenged in court. The Supreme Court agreed yesterday to hear oral arguments against the plan as early as February. Payments will remain paused in the meantime. Angela Morabito, former press secretary for then U.S. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, expects taxpayers to bear the brunt of this legal battle.
We pay in two ways. We pay first because the government is owed money that it's never going to get back, and the taxpayer foots the bill there. And then we pay another way if this illegal bailout goes through, because this is going to be pouring billions and billions of dollars on the fire of inflation.
According to the Government Accountability Office, loan payment pauses have cost taxpayers more than $100 billion since 2020. The U.S. Department of Education estimated in September that the Biden administration's program will cost an average of $30 billion annually. The Education Department originally estimated federal direct loans would generate $114 billion over the last 25 years for the government. Current estimates show it costing $197 billion.
Clouds have started to increase once again across western Oregon as our next storm remains just offshore. We'll discuss where it's heading next on Oregon's News at 10. A lenticular cloud started to form over Mount Jefferson earlier today, thanks to those high winds aloft, as our clouds started to increase across the western half of the country primarily, and that's where we find a fresh layer of snowfall as well. But the cloud coverage still remaining across western Oregon at this hour. You can see a few of the lightning strikes off out over the Pacific, but all of that not actually making its way onshore, although we might be able to pick up on a raindrop or two as we progress through the weekend for the south coast and then eventually into the I-5 corridor. We just have to pack our patience until about Sunday or so. So here's our next weather maker. It comes in the form of a low pressure system with this purple line, which is an occluded front. Basically, that's a cold front that races up to a warm front and just kind of all mixes in with itself, spinning around the center of the low. And that's going to stop it from moving from west to east, and it will just move it from north to south. So that means just the cloud coverage will remain over western Oregon for much of the weekend, primarily for Saturday, and we might be able to see a stray raindrop or to be spit out towards the south coast. But as for the snow coverage over the Cascades, likely to pick up on a few more snow flurries Saturday night into Sunday, and then eventually Sunday we might get a little bit of that wraparound moisture to push its way into the I-5 corridor. But this strong winds will continue along the south coast. That's where we could see them gust up to about 15 to 20, if not even closer to 25 miles per hour tonight into tomorrow morning as we hold on mostly cloudy skies here across western Oregon. There's the first few snow flurries that start to fall. This is at about 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then eventually we start to see that moisture push its way a little bit further off to the east. Now you'll notice we're getting kind of close with that wintry mix through the southern Willamette Valley, although I think we're done with the snow flurries for the valley floor. A lot of that melting before it makes its way that close to the ground, and maybe just a stray raindrop or two as we work our way into Sunday. So that puts our 48-hour rainfall totals at just at about a tenth to a quarter, and some of us even close to a half inch, primarily along the south coast as we start to see the rain showers a little bit earlier in the day on Saturday. So we are watching that snow level elevation still remain above the coastal mountain passes all the way through Saturday and into Sunday. So that's some good news for us, as our snow accumulation is just going to remain up in the high country. Anywhere from 1 inch to 4 inches is a possibility, as early morning lows fall below freezing for many of us once again. So we do have that potential to see some icing with some of those leftover puddles that haven't quite dried up yet. And then our afternoon highs are back up into the upper 40s, but we got a good celebration ahead in Springfield for tomorrow. That's the Christmas parade. It's going to be about 42 degrees at about 1 o'clock. No rain and mostly cloudy skies, although we might see a few rays of sunshine. This temperature is still right out into the mid-40s all the way through Tuesday, and then another burst of wet weather late Wednesday night into Thursday and Friday. The South Coast also expecting to see the wet weather last through the weekend. Not a super soaker event, on and off again rain showers, so you'll catch a few dry spots there. But speaking of dry weather, Monday through Wednesday before the winds return the rain for Thursday. And the Umpqua Valley also experiencing those temperatures slightly below normal being 49 for this time of year. And then we see the return of the wet weather Thursday and the Friday. So a nice little on and off again rain shower or two over the next week or so. A much different story than what we all experienced yesterday with the snow.
Definitely, and thank goodness we're going to see dry skies for that parade. I think holding a parade in Oregon can be a bit of a gamble.
Yes, and they always call it the oldest and the coldest, and it'll live up to at least the coldest.
Definitely. And still to come on Oregon's News, celebrating the holidays means cooking big festive meals for most families. But with the latest reports from Lane County on food waste numbers, we're now looking at ways you can cut back on how much gets thrown out.
You're watching Oregon's News at 10 on Oregon's Fox.
Welcome back. The holiday season is known for good eating, but it can be a time when Americans waste the most food. According to the Lane County Waste Management, waste generation is nearly 20% higher during the holidays. Nationally, over 305 million pounds of Thanksgiving food were thrown out this year. That's according to ReFed, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending food loss and waste. Locally, waste management officials are reminding folks at home where the food and other waste ends up.
In the landfill, the food is covered and compacted, and in those anaerobic conditions, food waste and any organic waste, so wood, anything, yard waste, emits methane as it breaks down, which is a greenhouse gas that's about 21 times more potent than CO2.
Bulow recommends freezing leftovers so that they last longer, and to consider making them into things like stock, casserole, or smoothies, depending what you have. Lane County Waste Management says if you live in Eugene or Springfield and if you have a yard waste bin, it's acceptable to put food waste in it as well. Nationally recognized South Coast wood sculptor Terry Woodall's work is now showing in exhibits along the South Coast. He also has a new book out about preserving the history of the myrtlewood tree. Myrtlewood Memoirs compiles historical stories about the trees, which are exclusive to southwestern Oregon and northern California. Woodall says the tree's rarity, variety of colors, and wood grain patterns make it prized among crafters. It's also a hardwood that's easy to work with.
It's something of a legacy that I feel like needs to be noted, and it's actually Oregon's treasure, and I can share that legacy with you and the public through the book and the stories I've compiled on the natural history of the tree.
Woodall's work is also currently featured in an exhibit at the Coos History Museum in Coos Bay until March. And shifting gears now, Hayden Herrera is here in the studio with us tonight. What's new in sports, Hayden?
Well, on this Foxy Friday, highlights from Oregon Volleyball's NCAA tournament opener. Could the Ducks keep their home winning streak alive? Plus, a game you saw right here on Oregon's Fox, the Pac-12 Championship, without the Ducks this year. What happened in Vegas? That's next. Oregon Volleyball has had to wait 4 years to host an NCAA tournament match, and the day has finally come. The Ducks taking their undefeated home record into the postseason. Oregon hosting Loyola Marymount at Matthew Knight Arena. First set, light lifting for the Ducks. Hannah Pukas to Brooke Nunneveller, the senior, with the kill. Oregon takes set one, 25-17. Second set, Oregon with a 1-point lead. Check out the athleticism from Nunaviller here. What a save to keep it in play. Not only that, but Pukas gets the kill to extend Oregon's lead. Ducks take set 2, 25-22. Third set, the sweep is imminent. Who else? Pukas to Nunaviller, one of Brooks' 13 kills. Oregon gets the sweep to advance to the second round of the tournament.
I didn't see anything different than what I've seen the second half of conference play. We went in there, I think, confident, ready to go, just really focusing on our side of the net, and looking in everyone's eyes, it was just the exact same, which is so encouraging for us, because in the past, you know, we get a little high anxiety, like we're up in our seat, we're making errors that we don't usually make, and it's okay to get some nerves out, like we were saying before, but we got out of it, and just very happy with the eyes that I saw.
The Ducks will face my alma mater, Arkansas, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Oregon football fans were hoping to be in Las Vegas this weekend for the Pac-12 championship, but we all know what happened last week in Corvallis. Ducks watching from home this year. Instead, it's Utah who got in, facing number 4 USC, a rematch of a great game from earlier this season. Trojans winning their lock for the college football playoff. Things looking good early. Caleb Williams to Raleek Brown. SC up 14-3. Utes respond before halftime though. Cam Rising finds Jalen Dixon. This game tied at 17 at the half, and in the second half, it's all Utes. Check out this play. Rising to Money Parks, and that's money all right. 57 yards for the touchdown. Trojans got within 3, but USC's defense couldn't stop a thing. And for the second straight season, the Utes are the champions of the Pac-12. Utah headed to another Rose Bowl. USC's playoff hopes are over. Finally tonight, we're just a few hours away from kickoff Saturday morning in the United States in the knockout stage of the FIFA World Cup. Team USA faces the Netherlands in the round of 16. Like the U.S., the Dutch also missed out on the World Cup back in 2018, but they're back for redemption.
I think we all know that Netherlands is a big team, a lot of quality players. I think this group, we rely on our team mentality, our togetherness, our hard work, and I feel like, we're confident against anyone. We just have to go out there and apply ourselves and do what we have to do to get the job done.
Kickoff between the Dutch and the U.S. is 7 a.m. right here on Fox. So that game is in about 8.5 hours. I will have I'm going to set my alarm for like 6:45. That gives me enough time to let the dog out, make a pot of coffee, maybe stay awake for the
Yeah, you got this. And the Fox viewers can just keep their TV on the whole time.
Absolutely.
And next on Oregon's News at 10, the 7th annual Springfield Christmas Parade marches through town into Main Street tomorrow. We have details if you'd like to attend. Finally tonight, the Christmas parade kicks off in Springfield tomorrow. It starts at 1 p.m. and the parade route begins at 21st and Olympic and makes its way down Mohawk Boulevard towards Main Street. It'll finish at the intersection of Main Street and Pioneer Parkway East, with roads in the area closed to accommodate the parade. And despite icy weather, organizers are determined to bring some joy to the community.
You know, it's at 70 years this year. It just makes me chilled. I just love it. And we couldn't let the city down and all those kids down and not have their Christmas parade. So that's why we do it no matter what type of weather, no matter how much it costs, we get it done.
And this will be the 70th iteration of the parade, Josh. What an awesome tradition.
Yeah, you know, every year that I've been out, it's been raining, but this year it looks to be dry, which isn't always the case. So we lucked out.
It's great to not have your parade rained on. So I hope everyone has a great time there tomorrow, and that's all we have for tonight. We'll see you back here on Monday.